my esteemed brother, Sri Justice M. Venkata Ramana, and revered Madam Srimati Ramana, my esteemed sister and brother judges, and their respected family members, Advocate General Sri Ram, President Andhra Pradesh High Court Bar Association Sri T. Reddy, Chairman State Bar Council of Andhra Pradesh Sri Venkata, Additional Inspector General, Additional Solicitor General, Public Prosecutors, Law Officers, Senior Advocates, members of the Bar, members of Judicial Fraternity, officers of the judiciary, other family members and friends of Justice M. Venkata, ladies and gentlemen. We have gathered here to bid adieu to our esteemed brother Justice M. Venkata as he is demitting office as judge of this court today. Justice Venkata was born at Hyderabad to late Sri Matam Narayan Rao and late Srimati Kamala. He comes from a renowned family of advocates. Having done his schooling at Guti, he shifted to collegiate education for collegiate education to Tirupati and then to Bangalore, and thereafter pursued his LLM in Constitutional Law from Osmania University. It is heartening that his father, great-grandfather and grandfather all were renowned advocates in Anantapur district. He was trained in the office of late Sri K.S. Jairam, where he practiced for about 5 years. By sheer dint of his merit, he was selected to work as district munship in the year 1987, and thereafter he was promoted in due course and was posted at all important positions in his service career. He also served as presiding officer of CBI court, one of the most difficult courts. My association with Justice Ramana in this court is for a few months. But meeting him even for a short period, one could know that he is a man full of courtesy, compassion, humility. Today I had the opportunity to conduct court proceedings with him in division bench, and this association, sitting with him in the division bench, I will cherish pride. He has a sound judicial temperament and is endowed with sterling character and integrity. During 2.5 years of his tenure as judge of this court, he has disposed of around 2,900 cases. Throughout his career as a judge, he has delivered numerous judgments on various jurisdictions, which have immensely contributed towards the growth of procedural and substantive law. In Sri M. Prasad and State of Andhra Pradesh, he has observed that the conduct expected of a judicial officer shall be beyond reproach, and the officer has to maintain high levels of impeccable integrity. Not only that, these characteristics shall be maintained by such an individual, but also in his deeds and actions at every stage in public life. His Lordship has further observed that the life of a judicial officer shall indeed reflect such disposition. Then in Tai Hamatala matter, he has explained the theory of estoppel by conduct and principles of benami transaction. He has handed down numerous landmark land court judgments in civil law. His observations in the case of M. Prasad would reflect his lordship's penchant for probity and discipline required to be maintained by a judicial officer, not only while on duty but also in public life. His lordship has succinctly dealt with the principles and the parameters of functioning of a judicial officer. His career as a whole is exemplary and would guide the judicial fraternity for a long time. Brother Justice Venkata Ramana is parting company with us, but only as a sitting judge of this court. It is a loss to this court to part with such an eminent judge, but he shall be in our hearts as a member of our family forever. I, on my own behalf and on behalf of my brother and sister judges, wish Justice M. Venkata Ramana a very happy, healthy, peaceful life and good luck in his future pursuits.
With the permission of my Lord, the Honorable the Chief Justice, may I request the Learned Advocate General to commence his speech on behalf of legal fraternity.
My Lords, the Honorable the Chief Justice, my Lord Justice Venkata Ramana, Mrs. Venkata Ramana and family members, my Lords, the Honorable Judges, family members of the Honorable Judges, President Bar Association, Chairman Bar Council, the Assistant Solicitor General, law officers, the Advocate Fraternity. Every farewell brings back to memory a few instances of the learned judges' conduct and also interaction with the members of the bar. I have had opportunities to appear before His Lordship when His Lordship was manning the presiding office in the CBI court, and perhaps for over a period of 2 years, I appeared before His Lordship every Friday. Going from the High Court, when we go to the lower courts, we go generally with a few assumptions and also try to be as fit as possible in the new work environment. So as a part of my acclimatization of the terrain, I went and sat in His Lordship's court for 2 days prior to the hearing. And noticing that that set of cases would have a battery of lawyers arguing one after the other, and perhaps also sensing very astutely that there would be competing positions amongst lawyers to make an impression, the learned judge on the first day said, I do not know who all are appearing, obviously His Lordship knew, and I will not let any point to be repeated. Going to that court, especially in a set of matters which had caught national attention, all of us were under pressure. But for the next 2.5 years, I learned the art of having to innovate every minute, because not only was His Lordship completely thorough of a most complicated case, he would have a sense of anticipation of the next line of argument and preempt that argument saying, we know where we are going ahead with this contention, I need to tell you that does not arise in this case. So I was blooded in criminal law, and it was a baptism by fire. His Lordship's demeanor in court was one of an elder in a family of teenagers. He would get angry, and within a minute, in order to perhaps ensure that the lightheartedness of the court is not sacrificed, would come up with a brilliant sense of situational humor. I can go on and on, but most of us have also seen it in His Lordship's disposition while being in the High Court. An epitome of rectitude in professional life, as the learned Chief Justice pointed out. an unimpeachable commitment to a sense of right and wrong, justice, wedded with equity and law. And if the law required a certain set of rulings to be made, His Lordship can be trusted with dealing with every nuanced submission that lawyers would make in his court hall, and none of the judgments that I have read of His Lordship's can be faulted for not considering a lawyer's contention. His Lordship's understanding of the fact situation and also of deep jurisprudential values and constitutional law is writ large in most of the orders that His Lordships have tendered, irrespective of the jurisdiction His Lordship was exercising. Well, also the Chief Justice referred to Prasad's case. Maybe the learned judge was referring to himself. In where rectitude is by default in a judge's demeanor is something that was practiced by His Lordship in all walks of his life, and a man of few words, but telling words if the need be, and not known to mincing words where it ought not to be minced. Judges like this would leave an impression upon all the younger members of the bar on the template of conduct rules that they have to imbibe in life, whether as a lawyer, as a judge, or in any walk of public life, as His Lordship indicated in Prasad's case. Our interaction with them, especially after I moved to this side, was only as a respondent. I did not have many opportunities to appear, but with all the heaviness that one would feel, because he was a stickler for almost silent decorum and gravity in court, but he will impart that needed levity for the lawyers to be comfortable in the next particular moment. Here is wishing His Lordship a wonderful career ahead in his retired life. I have come to know the family members are here. I've had an opportunity just about 20 minutes ago to meet them. It's just a call to how well all values to life can still be kept intact while manning difficult and stressful positions in life. It's a lesson by itself. Praying Almighty that He bestow all His kind grace on Justice Venkata and his family members, and hoping to see him around for much more time to come. I, on behalf of the fraternity, wish His Lordship and his family members all the very best, longevity and health in life. God bless you.
With the permission of my Lord, the Honorable the Chief Justice, may I request the learned President of the Bar Association, High Court of AP, to commence his speech on behalf of legal fraternity.
My Lord, the Honorable Chief Justice, Honorable Justice Sri Venkata, Honorable Judges of this Court, Land Advocate General, Land Additional Advocate General, respected Chairman, Bar Council of AP, Land Additional Public Prosecutor, Land Assistant Solicitor General, officers of the state, Land Senior Advocates, colleague advocate friends, and staff of the High Court. Today we have assembled here to bid farewell to the Honorable Justice Sri Venkata on his Lordship's retirement. My Lord hails from a reputed family of advocates at Chitti, Anantapur district. My Lord's great-grandfather, Matam Veravashachar, his grandfather, Matam Shesharao, and father, Matam Narayan Rao, all practiced as advocates at Gutti and other places in Anantapur district. And my Lord did his schooling from Malta Smith High School, Gutti, intermediate from SV Junior College, Tirupati, BSc from Government College, Anantapur, LLB from Sri Jagadguru Renukacharya College of Law at Bangalore and LLM from Usmania University in Constitutional Law. My Lord initially trained under his father, thereafter joined the chambers of Sri K. Jairam, a senior advocate Anantapur. After practicing for 5 years, in the year 1987, my Lord was appointed as district munsif and worked at Chittur, Piler, Nandyal and other places. In the year 1993, my Lord promoted as sub-judge and worked at Adoni, Nellore, Kurnool. Upon promotion as district judge, worked at Warangal as registrar, special court for cases under AP Land Grabbing Act at Hyderabad. My Lord was also a senior faculty member, AP Judicial Academy, special judge of SPE and ACB cases Nellore, principal district judge Warangal, principal special judge for CBI cases at Hyderabad and principal district judge at Kurnool. Thereafter, his lordship was elevated as judge of this Hon'ble court with effect from 20th June 2019. During his lordship's tenure, his lordship has delivered a number of landmark judgments in civil law. One of the famous cases, Katari Setu Ramaraju versus Ranganatha Swami Temple, where the issue was his lordship while considering whether the order passed by the endowments tribunal through its member without full quorum, including the chairman, whether it's proper and whether it is non-honest in the eye of law. Then his lordship made it very clear that no act or proceeding shall be deemed to be invalid when there is vacancy among the members and any defect in its constitution shall not affect the proceedings of the tribunal. In another case, in Kaligiti Priyanka versus Javadev Raju Gandhi, his lordship while dealing that whether a case can be transferred from a family court to a civil court in view of a specific provision, in which his lordship clearly said that right to justice of primordial consideration. Right to justice is of primordial consideration. When a party requests transfer of his matter from the family court to court of ordinary civil jurisdiction, enjoying the equal competence and efficacy similarly applied to the same provisions of substantive and procedural laws, it cannot be stated that such requests shall be confined to court of equal status in hierarchical system prevalent in the state or in the country. My Lord was always appears with smile on the bench and never lost his cool, and it is due to his lordship's hard work, diligence, simplicity and working ability which was gained the trust of the members of the bar. My Lord was created a special place in the hearts of every member of the legal fraternity, and we are very grateful for every endeavor that his lordship has made in upholding the rule of law and also for keeping good relationship between bar and bench. Now as his lordship is remitting the office, we will miss his presence in this Hon'ble court. I, on behalf of the Andhra Pradesh High Court Advocates Association, thank Justice Sri Matam Venkata for his services to the bar and the bench, and wish him and his family very happy and peaceful life. Thank you, sir.
With the permission of my Lord, the Honorable Chief Justice, may I now request the learned Chairman, Bar Council of the State of Andhra Pradesh, to commence his speech on behalf of legal fraternity.
My Lord, the Honorable Chief Justice, other judges of the Honorable Going Court, Justice Venkata, Madam Mrs. Venkata and his family members, the Learned Advocate General, the President of the Association, Assistant Solicitor General, Senior Advocates, and registrars and staff of the Bar Council, my advocate friends, ladies and gentlemen. Today, my Lord Justice Ramana is laying down his office. My Lord started his career as advocate at Anantapur. Though I don't have personal knowledge till my Lord become a judge, but I heard through my friends. After my Lord become the judge of this Honorable Court, through my friends, Sahoda Reddy, and Venkateswarlu, who are the fellow bar council members in the combined bar council. I used to hear about my lord. Whenever they contacted me, they never forget to mention my lord's name. Whenever there is a conversation, that was the maintained relationship and the reputation that was maintained by my lord. And another person, Rabindranath, who is also, I think, office colleague of my lord. And I came to know about my lords. And not only my lord hails from the advocate family, and his grandfather was a freedom fighter, and also his father-in-law, his brother-in-law, and his brother are advocates. And not only that, my friend Rabindranath shared some information with me. And when my lord was practicing at Anantapur during some cultural event, incidentally my lord played a role of magistrate in the playlet, and subsequently my lord became the magistrate and reached the highest position in the state. My lord, I never find my lord deciding any case without having clarity, and there are no mentioning whether senior or junior, and until and unless the issue is clear and got clarity, my lord never decided the case and postponed and gave opportunity. With this, viewers, I take this opportunity to wish my lord a peaceful. My lord used to say that even after the retirement, he don't want to continue this kind of life and want to lead a peaceful life. I wish my lord and his family members a peaceful retired life. And one's request is that my lord, without much pressure, we are planning to have a advocates academy. At least my lord shall play an important role with his vast experience training the advocate friends in the state. I again wish my lord a peaceful retirement life and lead the life.
With the permission of my lord, the Honorable the Chief Justice, may I now request the Learned Assistant Solicitor General, High Court of AP, to commence his speech on behalf of the legal fraternity.
My Lord, the Honorable Chief Justice, my Lord Justice Venkata, Judges of this Honorable Court, Madam Venkata, and members of the learned judges of this court, Learned Advocate General, Chairman Bar Council, President of the Bar Association, senior advocates, staff of this court. My Lord, from the next working day, the bar will be missing an excellent judge on the bench. With his illustrious 35 years of career as a judicial officer, wherever my Lord worked, he left his mark. For instances, my Lord, I have to recollect. In Warangal, 10-court complex was sanctioned, but for some reasons, even after 4 years of sanction, the work could not start because the local parties, the bar. My Lord, when he was the principal district judge, made a minor change in the plan and the complex was completed, which was inaugurated by the Honorable Chief Justice last month. With his indulgence, my Lord, the advocates of Warangal remember my Lords on a daily basis whenever we interact with them. Similarly, I had an opportunity to appear before him when he was the principal session judge for CPI cases. He was thoroughly a perfect judge on bench, where he was also guiding young advocates to conduct proper trial. We learned a lot before by appearing before him. That apart, one instance, my Lord, which I have to recollect, the special courts were away from the Metropolitan Sessions Courts complex. There the facilities for advocates were not there at all. My Lord, with his indulgence, directed the bar presidents and other senior advocates to ensure that proper facilities are there for the advocates and women advocates will come there. With his indulgence, my Lord, the proper bar has been formed there and proper infrastructure was there. So probably because of his experience and coming from a family of advocates, my Lord had that empathy with the bar, and for which the bar will be always indebted. My Lord, on this day, all that we can say is, we wish you kindly be available for all the legal fraternity in future, whenever God gives this opportunity. With these few words, I pray God to ensure a happy and peaceful life for my Lord Justice Venkata. Thank you.
With the permission of my Lord, the Honorable Chief Justice, may I now request the Honorable Chief Justice Venkata to deliver the speech.
My Lord, Justice Prashant Kumar Mishra, the Chief Justice of our Condition, my esteemed brothers and sisters judges, Land Advocate General, the President, AK High Court Advocates Association, the Chairman, Bar Council of Arbitration, Land Additional Solicitor General, my family members, senior advocates, younger generation of lawyers, advocate friends who have come from different places of both the states of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, the registrars of this court, judicial officers, staff of this court, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. As I sit here, maybe a lost occasion, as a judge of this court, my mind is filled up with joy, flashing back the memories. I cherish some and prefer to reject a few being unworthy. A long journey in the service of this great institution has come to an end now. A prime part of my life for nearly 35 years thus passed by in the service of this great institution. This career did not remain a road for me of full force. Experience is dotted with events that made me and my family proud. Not an easy task for the one who had to climb up the ladder in progression of career, getting over the obstacles that were wantonly thrown at me in this journey. However, the peers that serve this institution at all levels give me necessary strength, or even physical, to make this sailing comparatively smooth and reasonably fair. I should gratefully acknowledge the support I had in my early days of caring from High Court. I rate my stay of 3 years in City Civil Court, Hyderabad as an assistant judge being the best. Possibly, it opened up the vistas for a vision to pursue in my life. Handling different subjects as a judge of anti-corruption courts gave another dimension to understand the human frailties and certain insight into jurisprudence of a different order. Learning fundamentals in administration office, the pleasure I had in dealing with an assortment of subjects including under different special acts boosted up my confidence to invite any kind or type of subject in this constitutional court in a non-challenging manner. Since I molded my life in this institution more as a recluse, as the demands of the duty and call of institutional discipline required, I seldom made attempts to socialize. Therefore, it became inevitable for me to spend a good part of my time on the bench and the work at home. The court always became a playground for me to enjoy. It was the only place where I could closely watch and observe a cross-section of society, be it lawyers, clients, etc. Thus, wrapping always in a positive and happy mood. I did not let go any moment on the bench useless. I cherish these memories for long. This process of charting of my mind did not remain content with these experiences. I continue to ponder over the way this institution adapted itself to the changes taking place in and around the social order. These instances gave way for different kinds of litigation, dominating the scene and engaging the attention of the courts in the hierarchy. It has a lot to do with economic activity, striving to achieve the goals which this great nation had set for itself. The key factor always remained being a constant urge for achievement of betterment in all walks of life and spheres of activity. After adopting the Constitution of India, there were instances requiring interpretation and adaptation to meet the goals set out in its preamble, particularly to secure justice, social, economic and political. Foundation was laid from the times of Pankajam Dorai Rasan, Golaknath, A.K. Gopal, Adorable Keshavananda Bharati, Minerva Mills, and recent NJAC from 1950 till date to MFU to form up the domain of public law remedies that are drawing a great part of attention of all the constitutional courts. There have been instances in such an arduous journey that can best be forgotten. The institutional operators did not remain quiet when attempts are made to affect its identity and credibility. This domain is gaining strength each day as each day is passing by. A large volume of litigation in this field is a strong indicator of assertive action. It cannot be an instance of burden in the docket, but it is an instance more in the nature of docket inclusion. Traditional litigation, that is civil and criminal matters, though remain the backbone of this institution at various levels. Inroads were made from certain special branches of law on account of land acquisition or land reforms in 1960s and 1970s. Later this scene started getting dominated by the claims for compensation under various beneficial enactments. At this juncture, in about 1980s, a new thought process of recognizing the efficacy and efficiency of alternative modes of dispute resolution started building up. It's now rooted firmly with the establishment of statutory bodies for arbitration, mediation, conciliation, and settlement through local adalats. Opening up of economy in 1990s in this country had its impact on this system. Not only it had led to crass consumerism affecting the traditional traits of Indian society and its culture. It gave rise to assertion of rights, either real or imaginary, in public law domain and through special tribunals like consumer forum. In fact, these events and happenings around are giving an impression that the pure and simple traditional litigation is taking a beating due to plethora of tribunals and adjudicator forums, almost invading its jurisdiction to the extent of denuding its utility. In spite of these challenges attempting to alter the contours of the existing judicial apparatus, silver lining is that it has welcomed them with open arms, embracing every other alternative facet and gently reminding that their activities are subject to judicial review and review, nudging ultimately to their statutory confines. This great ability of adaptation, in my considered view, is silent revolution. In this process, the institution as a whole did not compromise or permit erosion of its edits or values. It stood by what it believed unchanged. There cannot be a better example of this process of adaptation than considering the present challenge posed by the pandemic and the way the system itself has met this challenge. When what once thought being a gigantic task in employing virtual mode of adjudicatory system and court procedure, a quiet transition has set in. Many virtual courts were started long ago with a great fanfare and a glare of publicity, unnecessarily wasting the public money. Their utility, as experience shows, and as I understand, is minuscule nor visible. This pandemic made us to run after other ways to keep this institution functional. Devised are the ways by ingenious modes upon simple computer applications, relying on existing and readily available facilities. This process did not go unnoticed. It has kept the courts afloat at all levels, providing functional efficiency. They are reflective of a serious and strenuous efforts in national building activity by this institution. It should acknowledge by one another. I just remind all of you that when the Chief Justice addressed us on January 26th, he reminded us of the necessity to make this institution for the purpose a better place for building activity. I just reminding myself of this fact. As a constitutional entity, this court has onerous responsibility as sentinel and keyway to safeguard rights and interests of everyone entitled to and deserving. Fairness and transparency are the hallmarks of this court. It will continue forever. Not like what Shakespeare threw infamous three witches in Macbeth in the opening scene said, fair is foul, foul is fair. Foreshadowing what is to come. My experience as a judge of this court has been pleasant. I enjoyed the affection of all my brother and sister judges plenty. Indeed, it has been a smooth sailing. I am beholden to Sri Justice Praveen Kumar, then acting Chief Justice, who administered oath of office to me as the second judge of this court after establishment. I also thank the Chief Justice of Justice A.K. Parameshwari, as his lordship then was, Justice Anil Kumar Goswami and Sri Justice Prashant Kumar Mishra for their support and giving me an opportunity to decide cases in various branches of law. The improvements made to the library of this court and of the district judiciary, spending a few crores of rupees through the library committee chaired by me, with the excellent cooperation of my esteemed brother Sri Ramana and Sri Devanand, gave me immense satisfaction. The library of this court has many new additions, including the standard trust like Ulster's Laws of England. I place on record my deep appreciation of the assistance offered by Sri Ramakrishna, Registrar Management, Sri S.C.R. Murthy, Joint Registrar, and their team. I thank the registrars of this court and staff. Particularly, I should acknowledge the services of stenographers who worked for me at all levels. I also appreciate and place on record the services rendered by Srimati Gauri, Court Officer, Srimati Saroja, Srimati Sarojini, Sri Ramireddy, Srimati K. Anuradha as secretaries, Sri Gautam, Kumari B. Leela, law clerks, Sri Ankara, who is the driver, personal staff of the court, personal staff of the court, Sri Anand Kumar, Govind, Henry, and personal staff at my residence, Sri Basha, Rahul, Sridhar, Srimati Radhika, and Sri. Special thanks are due to my family that could bear me all through these years. I pay my obeisance to the God Almighty, my spiritual gurus, and my parents on this occasion. I thank the Advocate General, the President of the Bar Association, the President, Bar Council of Andhra Pradesh, Chairman of Bar Council of Andhra Pradesh, and Sri Harinath, Assistant Solicitor General, in being very kind to me in this address. I also especially thank my Lord the Chief Justice being so kind to me in his address. Before parting, I remind myself what Robert Frost says in his famous poem, The Road Not Taken. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. For me, this is not an end in my public life. The road goes on. Thank you. Thank you.
With the permission of my Lord, the Honorable Chief Justice, may I now declare that the proceedings are concluded.